What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing a lot of the questions that you guys had in relation to the Chicago Bulls, especially in the comments of a lot of my last couple of videos. At the end of the day, it's a very interesting topic, and I've kind of said that the Chicago Bulls are not as unpredictable as other teams in the NBA, and I was mentioning more the Cavs and the Hawks, but the questions that you guys have provided to me, saying that all these questions, all these, I guess, hopes that the Chicago Bulls can deliver on are going to be the reasons why we are successful. And unfortunately, there are too many questions and too many ambitions that we simply don't know will actually happen. So I'll go through some of those questions. I'll go through some of those ambitions. I'll talk about my opinion on them, what I think will happen, what I'm worried about, and ultimately the questions I just don't know about as well. Some of them you just simply don't have a clue about, and try to give my reasoning behind those answers that I provide. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the answers that I provide to some of these questions, as well as adding any new questions to the fray for the Chicago Bulls. Do you think that at the end of the day, some of the questions that I've answered are not necessary? Or if you have any new questions, once again, feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe I can make another part to this video, because there are a lot of questions and I don't think I could get through all of them today, but I'll try to get through as many of them as possible. So we'll discuss the elephant in the room first and foremost, the Lonzo Ball health issue. What do I think about the Lonzo Ball health issue, and ultimately what do I think will end up happening with Lonzo Ball? Now, in terms of the short term, the best we can hope for is Lonzo Ball to get back as early as possible. That's the only thing that should be on Lonzo Ball's mind, and that's the only thing the Chicago Bulls should be focused on. And that's truly the only thing I should be focused on as well as a Bulls fan. Thinking anything else beyond that is a little bit naive, in all honesty, just because, look, the whole situation about Lonzo Ball, there's been 4 out of 5 seasons that he's been hurt and he's missed a lot of game time, which is extremely unfortunate, because it's not just unfortunate for the Bulls, it's unfortunate for Lonzo. And some of these injuries, at the end of the day, you can't control. Some things just happen the way that they happen, and you have to make sure you bounce back from those situations. And that's what Lonzo Ball should be trying to do in every sense of the words. And that's what I think Lonzo Ball is trying to do. All Lonzo wants to do is play basketball again. He said it countless times. So when it comes to the short term, the quicker he can come back for the Bulls, the better, because we're probably going to need him, but he has to be 100% when he comes back. Now, if you're looking at the long-term picture of Lonzo Ball, if he gets hurt once again for the Chicago Bulls and he misses significant time, that's going to be an issue in terms of whether or not we should actually keep Lonzo Ball. Because realistically, he has 2 years left on his contract. If he gets hurt this season, he'll only have 1 year left on his contract. And do you want to keep a player here that you just can't trust to stay healthy? It's always been the question mark. We have to suffer the same question with Derrick Rose, and ultimately the answer was that we traded him. We traded him for nothing, but we traded him nonetheless. And that was definitely a difficult conversation to have. And for many people, they would want to have that conversation again with Lonzo Ball. Do we trust Lonzo Ball to stay healthy? That's going to be a question that Lonzo Ball will have to answer himself. And is he good enough when he is healthy? Absolutely. So we want Lonzo Ball to be healthy. We want a durable Lonzo Ball. And we as the Bulls as an organization has to work around Lonzo Ball. They have to make sure Lonzo Ball can stay healthy. And whether we like it or not, they may have to load manage Lonzo Ball, which is not an ideal situation because you want Bulls players to play every game. But unfortunately, 4 out of 5 seasons is a lot of time for Lonzo, and it's not a good look for him. So you got to make sure he's especially ready for the NBA playoffs. It has to be a necessity for the Chicago Bulls. Lonzo Ball has yet to make an NBA playoff appearance, and this is the perfect opportunity for him to do that. And we need to see how he could deliver at the NBA playoff stage, because he might be one of those key factors that we missed that could allow us to win a playoff series as well. Long term, if he gets hurt again, we'll have to make a decision, but I'm not focused on the long term when it comes to Lonzo Ball. All I really want from Lonzo Ball is to get healthy and to try again with this Chicago Bulls team and see how well he can do, how long he can stay healthy for, and then the conversation after that will be the conversation after that. I can't worry about a year or year and a half down the line. We've got to focus on this Bulls team as it currently is right now. Moving into a very big topic of discussion, the development of Ayo Dosunmu and Patrick Williams. These two guys, for many people, are going to be talking points in terms of taking a big step. Ayo potentially take a big step. What if Ayo takes a big step? And what if Patrick Williams takes a big step? Again, a hypothetical question that no one really knows the answer to. But I'll give my opinion on both. When it comes to Patrick Williams, I can honestly say I have very good confidence that Patrick Williams will take a big step next year. Because the big step that I have in mind does not mean putting 20 points on the board for the Chicago Bulls every single night. What I mean by Patrick Williams taking a big step is, one, his mentality, which we've all seen has been praised in the offseason. Two, his aggression, shot selection. Those are going to be big. Not necessarily just sitting in the corner all game, but sometimes taking the ambition to go and attack the basket or go to a mid-range shot or maybe even control a pick and roll and things like that. The ambition and the aggression to go and attack the game, that's very important. But it's also rebounding. It's also playmaking. It's also the ability to maybe be a point forward type of guy. There are so many ways that Patrick Williams can develop. It's not just improving from 9 points per game to 20 points per game, because that's really not an ideal scenario for Patrick Williams this season. We've got 3 all-star level players, 3 players that will average between 17 to 28 points per game. It's going to be very hard for Patrick Williams to just get 20 points per game. It's not ideal. There are only so many shots you can take in an NBA game. So there's a lot of ways that Patrick Williams can improve. And considering how thin in the small forward and power forward positions we are, I can 100% see Patrick Williams getting a lot of minutes and developing in those minutes. However, Ayo Dosunmu is someone that I do have some worries about, and I've expressed them in the past. Ayo Dosunmu, I have no question, will get better in relation to the NBA, in relation to his own game and his own development. Because in my opinion, from what we've seen throughout all of the Bulls players last season, in terms of the eye test alone, we have seen Ayo Dosunmu develop from a guy that got garbage time minutes to be a good rotational player, to be a point guard, and to be a very good point guard as well in his first year. He had incredible progression, and every single one of us saw it. But there is always that fear that because we've got another point guard in Goran Dragic, because we're going to have a lot of guards healthy, where is the minutes going to go for guys like Ayo and Kobe White? That's my fear, because I have no doubts in my mind Ayo will take a big step in terms of his own game, in terms of the ways that he can affect the game. But how many minutes is he going to get to really be able to be a game changer for the Chicago Bulls? Is he going to get less minutes than his first season? That is something I don't think should happen. But there's a fear, in my heart at least, that it can happen. That might not be the same for everybody else. When I made an Ayo Dosunmu video, everybody said they feel confident Ayo will get the minutes and will progress. And I hope that they're right, and I hope that I'm wrong. But I do have some small fear in my heart that Ayo will not get enough game time to really impact the game the way that we would like him to do. So that's my fear with Ayo, and that's my confidence with Patrick Williams. 2 guys that, again, could be X factors for the Chicago Bulls heading into the next season. We'll move on into another one. Nikola and Kobe White, 2 contract year players. How good are they going to perform in their contract year? Very big discussions. Again, we don't know the answer. But here's what I have to say. Here's what I honestly believe. Nikola Vucevic, in my opinion, is going to have a great season next year. I really believe that. He's looked like he's slimmed down. He's looked like he's put in a lot of work to adjust himself in the offseason, and he's fighting for a contract for the Chicago Bulls. He wants to stay here, and the Bulls want to keep him here. But depending on how much he wants as a salary next year and the year after that, most likely, he's going to have to perform in his contract season. And he's been there and done that before, most likely. He's been through contract situations. He's been playing for his contract in the NBA before. So he knows what it's like. And I can guarantee you he will have a great season. I will be wrong, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I believe. In a contract season, I don't think there's any possible way Nikola Vucevic will have a bad season, because if he does, there's a chance the Bulls don't re-sign him, which is not what he wants, and there's a chance that whichever team does sign him will give him a lot less money, and a starting role in the NBA is not going to be guaranteed. So he has to work doubly as hard to keep those things alive for himself for at least another 2 seasons. Very important year for Nikola Vucevic, and considering he's been there and done that before, before. I expect him to be there and do it again for the Chicago Bulls this time, not the Orlando Magic. For Kobe White, ultimately, that's the biggest unknown, in my opinion, in this video. Because the fact of the matter is, this is the first time Kobe White has been through a contract season. We don't know how he's going to perform. Remember Larry Market, and we all said he's going to perform his contract year, and he had a good start to the season, but towards the middle and the end of the season, he didn't get enough opportunities, and he also did not play very well in those opportunities. He didn't really suit the team that we had, so that affected his contract. And ultimately with Kobe White, you expect him to come out of the gates firing, and you just got to hope that consistency for Kobe White comes through, because he's also fighting for a contract with this team. I believe Kobe White wants to stay here as well, so if we consider Kobe White a valuable asset, we want to keep him long term, he's going to have a great season. And this is going to be his breakout season if he wants to stay here. That's my humble opinion. I don't know if he'll get there or not, because I have never seen Kobe White play in that type of situation. Same with Aidan as well, who's also on a contract year. So big decisions there for the Chicago Bulls, and the pressure is on all three of them to really deliver. DeMar DeRozan's MVP season. Can we truly see DeMar DeRozan play at that level once again? I honestly believe we will see DeMar DeRozan play there once again. I think he will get there once again. The truth of the matter is, DeMar DeRozan has always been a durable player. DeMar DeRozan has always been a guy that brings his A game in every single season that he possibly can. Now, he had a breakout season for the Chicago Bulls because he was basically the main guy on this team, and he had very good players around him to the point where he was able to play his game effectively. Now, as I've said before, I don't need to see DeMar DeRozan average 28 points per game for the Bulls to be successful. I think if you see DeMar DeRozan average 24 to 25 points per game, but other guys are getting more involved, you will see a very good Chicago Bulls team as well. But DeMar DeRozan also has a point to prove. He was recently called one of the most overrated players in the last 10 years. You saw what he reacted like when they called him the worst free agency signing in the NBA 2 seasons ago, or last season I should say. That was a big statement, and DeMar DeRozan came out and proved himself and tried to change that narrative. And unfortunately, there's another negative narrative towards DeMar DeRozan again, and I 100% believe he will be good enough and he will be ready enough to really have another great season like that. And if everybody to do it in the regular season, I would trust DeMar DeRozan to do it. He's a fantastic player, and once again, he's going to have a point to prove, so I have no questions about that. Zach LaVine's health, another question. Probably the last one I will talk about in this video. Zach LaVine's health, outside of his knees, because his knees is going to be a big issue, I don't have an issue with Zach LaVine's health. Everybody says Zach LaVine's knees are going to be the biggest issue in relation to the NBA. And we've seen Zach LaVine miss some time because of knee issues. But a torn ligament to his thumb is something that I don't worry about next season. I just don't. If it happens again, unfortunate. And then, of course, maybe it's something you worry about in the future. But that's just a really unfortunate injury for Zach LaVine that affected his ability to shoot the ball. A back injury that he had over the second half of the season is not something I'm worried about either. Unless it's a serious back injury, which I'm pretty sure it was only back spasms from what I remember. I don't see that being another big issue for Zach LaVine's health in the future. But he did have a torn ACL when he joined the Chicago Bulls. He had surgery on his knee this season, and he has missed a couple of games throughout the course of his time with the Bulls with knee injuries. So until we see a fully healthy Zach LaVine with no knee injuries whatsoever, I think there's always going to be a big question mark about Zach LaVine. But I've always given him credit for playing through the injuries, playing through the pain, being that warrior type of player that we all know him to be. So I'm excited to see what that would look like in the future, and hopefully a healthy Zach LaVine is going to be a good Zach LaVine, because I've said it, a good Zach LaVine, a healthy Zach LaVine is a dangerous Zach LaVine, and he could ultimately be our best player next season if he remains healthy. That's what we need to look forward to for Zach LaVine. But once again, another question we don't know. So there are a lot of questions about this Bulls team, and I fully tried to address them all and give my honest opinion about what I think about all of them. Some of them you may agree on, some of them you may not agree on. But all things considered, there are some questions about the Bulls, and unfortunately, the only time we can really see these answers is on the court, and we're very soon to get to see that happen. Again, we're in mid-September, I believe, right now, so preseason training camp is not too far away. And of course, the regular season, where we get to find these answers out from the early parts to the middle, to the All-Star break, to the end of the season. It's going to fly by, in my opinion. It's going to be a very quick season. I don't know why. I've just got that feeling it's not going to be a very long season for the Chicago Bulls. It's going to fly by, and hopefully it's going to fly by with a very entertaining season ahead of us. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any more questions, for example, if you want to talk about guys like Caruso staying healthy or anything like that, Javonte Green, or I guess the major improvements in terms of maybe signings and stuff like that, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But with all that being said, have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care.